Hello everyone, what's up? I'm Ehren, this is Question Period Canada. How are you today? Great episode coming up. It's the first in a series we'll be doing because the coalition governments, there's so many coalitions, they're breaking down though, and it feels like an election is looming. What's up? Time's up. Feels like time's up for the Liberals at least. The polls say if there was an election tomorrow that we'd elect a Conservative majority government. That would be interesting, right? In case you don't believe the polls, you'll agree with this. We're not going to elect the Bloc Québécois to run the country. NDP doesn't stand a chance. So it's the Liberals or the Conservatives. And the polls say now it's the Conservatives. So if the polls are predicting a Conservative majority government, I thought it would be fun to meet some of the star MPs of the Conservative caucus. So let's start from the top. Pierre Poilievre is the leader of the Conservative Party, the official opposition. He's been in Parliament since 2004 and the leader of the official opposition since 2022. He's got a very sharp tongue, he's funny sometimes, and he does not let the other politicians off the hook. Let's take a quick look at Pierre Poilievre. We're going to show two clips here of Pierre, one from 2019, and he's absolutely savage in that one, and then one from much more recently, actually today. And you can see that he's changed a little bit, but he's still funny and he's still got that sharp tongue.
It's funny to listen to a trust fund baby lecturing Canadians about being too rich.
That's right.
He says that people who take the bus are too rich and therefore should lose their transit tax credit. Soccer moms and hockey dads, Prime Minister says they're too rich, so he takes away their children's fitness tax credit. At the same time, he forces these same working class families to pay for his taxpayer-funded nannies. Will he put aside the hypocritical class warfare and tell us the true cost of his tax increases that he would bring in if he got reelected?
We said he had a sharp tongue, right? Calls Trudeau a trust fund baby. Hysterical. Now let's take a peek at something much more recent.
What's up? Rent's up. Rates are up. Taxes up. Debt up. Time's up for this government, Mr. Speaker. After 8 years, they're not worth the cost. And now this Prime Minister cakes on another $20 billion of inflationary spending and will bring up the interest payments on our debt to a record-smashing $51 billion a year. With 2 million Canadians eating at a food bank every month and many facing the loss of their home, why won't they cancel this inflationary scam and replace it with a plan to balance the budget and bring down interest rates and inflation?
So there's a couple of quick looks at Pierre Poilievre. He is definitely a sharp-tongued person, he's a funny politician, and he looks like he's going to be the next Prime Minister. That's what the polls say. Up next, Larry Brock. He's an MP from Ontario. This is a serious guy. He looks just like the Kingpin from Spider-Man, and he means business. He's always looking into the Liberal scams and scandals.
Canadians want these questions asked of this ethically and morally challenged government. Right. Public officials were caught lying. Insiders who became millionaires through the Arise scam were caught lying. It's time for honesty and clarity in this House. For weeks we've heard the same talking points from this minister. No action. No one's been charged. No one's been fired. So once again, will the minister responsible for this fiasco that the RCMP is investigating please stand up?
Remind me never to mess with that guy. I never want to be on the wrong side of the Kingpin. We're going to take a look next at Jassi Raj Singh HALLAN. He's an MP from Alberta, and he also has a great way of delivering his questions. He doesn't let the Liberals or the NDP, any coalition governments, off the hook. Let's take a quick look at Jassi Raj.
Member from Calgary Forest Lawn.
Last year, the finance minister promised to balance the budget in her false hopes update, then did a massive flip-flop and promised to balance the budget in the year never. The Prime Minister did a massive flip-flop recently too, on his carbon tax scam, where he gave a temporary carve-out for Canadians in Atlantic Canada. That's 3% of Canadians, whereas poll numbers were tanking. After 8 years, this Liberal NDP government are not worth the cost, and they still plan on quadrupling it. Why don't they pause quadrupling the carbon tax in today's failing economic update and call a carbon tax election so Canadians can decide?
You can put Jassi Raj on a list with Brock. Two guys I do not want to be on the wrong side of. We're going to take a peek next at Garnet Genuis. He's an MP from Alberta. He's just a young fella practically growing up in Parliament. He's been there since 2015. Well-spoken, knows what he's doing. Let's take a look.
The honourable member from Sherwood Park, Fort Saskatchewan.
This NDP Liberal government spent $54 million on the Arrive Scam app, and now RCMP are investigating contractors. More evidence that after 8 years, this Prime Minister is not worth the cost. Now, two senior public servants have accused each other of lying about who made the decision to hire GC Strategies. GC Strategies is a two-man company that does nothing and that subcontracts all the actual work. So will the minister responsible for this decision stand up now and explain to the House why GC Strategies was chosen?
Garnet Genuis makes me feel like an old man. I think he started in Parliament when he was 27 or 28. Imagine growing up in the Commons. Up next, Melissa Lantsman. This firecracker is an MP from Ontario, and she hits hard. She's got a great way of delivering her questions.
The honourable member from Thornhill.
It certainly doesn't help the people in Newmarket, in Aurora, in Richmond Hill, in Woodbridge, in Markham, in Stouffville, or in North York. All of these communities got sold out by their Liberal MPs, and they can't even tell people why. They had a choice to stand with their communities, and instead they stood with the Prime Minister, and now they're hiding and hoping that everybody forgets. If these MPs won't listen to their constituents, won't advocate for them in the House of Commons, and won't even stand to defend their vote, then what are they even doing here?
Melissa Lantsman is a firecracker indeed. An interesting note, she's the first openly gay Conservative woman ever elected to Parliament. Pretty neat, we've come a long way. So that's a brief introduction to some of the power players in the Conservative caucus. They're not to be trifled with. One of the reasons I think that they might all be so pissed off at Trudeau is they remember this clip. It's of Trudeau saying that poor Canadians don't pay taxes. I'm a poor Canadian. I assure you I pay taxes. Before we send you off, I'm Ehren. This is Question Period Canada. We're having fun with Canadian politics here. It's a good time. So like and subscribe, share with somebody. I've got lots of videos. You can check those out. But now let's take a look at this fool saying that poor Canadians don't pay taxes. Catch you next time.
Mr. Speaker, we see proof that the Conservatives simply don't understand that low-income families don't benefit from tax breaks because they don't pay taxes. We have moved forward on investing directly in low and middle-income families with the Canada Child Benefit that will actually directly benefit them. We have lifted hundreds of thousands.
I asked the Honourable